We are still having to deal with Ben Shapiro and other right wingers making a big deal about Kaepernick kneeling during football games, during the national anthem.
Jesus Christ, what is with her microphone? Like, I got a $2 fucking dollar store microphone right here, you know? Nothing out of the bag, it's just from the Salvation Army, and it sounds better quality than whatever the fuck a giant orb crystal ball she's trying to speak into. Hey guys, I honestly, I hate YouTube, but I got some more energy, extra time nowadays, and I figured that I would try to come back. But I clown on, AMTV a lot and shit. So why don't I try to balance myself and make fun of both the right and the left of the political spectrum? And I admit TYT is an easy target, but this is my comeback here. I gotta start slow and then work my way up to bigger things. So today we're just gonna be breaking down, having some laughs about TYT. The people that just take information, no matter how false or biased it is, wrap it up for the left, and just send that package right on the way. So let's actually break down some of their arguments, because if anything TYT says, if you just think about it for a few seconds, it starts to fall apart. But, how am I to deny you such a great video? We even got the Kaepernick thing still going on, which honestly, that should just die off now, but what can you do about it?
But there is a twist to this story, because Joe Rogan, who recently had Ben Shapiro on his podcast, is starting to sniff the BS. He can see it, and it's obvious in this next clip. Take a look.
He started by sitting, and people started getting video of him sitting as the preseason was starting. So he then talked to a teammate. They discussed kneeling was the best thing for him to do at the time.
Do you know which incident kind of kicked it off?
That's why I was going to play the video of it. That's why I had here the actual first video of him talking about him donating $1 million to the local community. I actually
want to take a moment to note something really interesting. They actually are trying to make themselves look more like a news organization by putting up their little, sign at the bottom and all their sponsorships. And I mean, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of sponsorships. I wish I had that many sponsorships. It used to just be, they were like, oh, well, you pay a few bucks and we are free to everyone, Well, not free, but you can get like the main show for free, and if you want some more content, you pay a few bucks. But now they're just going all out on the money here, which I mean, in quarantine times, you want the money. So I can't really blame them. I think that their quality has actually gotten better over time, because I used to watch them ever since like 2016, and then as I kept watching them over the years, I just slowly started to really sniff their BS instead. But, they're going after my boy Shapiro over here. Shapiro's a Chad, man. You can't be doing that. So let's just figure out if he can hold his own against Joe Rogan and all them. Because, let's be honest, Joe Rogan is actually a pretty controversial figure. He was meant to he stirs up controversy just to get more views on his show and stuff. He's a true neutral here, He says some things you agree with, he says some things you don't agree with, and everyone ends up just talking about a little. We all go home a little smarter because we listen to the opposite side, which is always great for a decent human, to not be in an echo chamber, but to have, other thoughts that conflict with your own ideologies, to figure out, what is a really good path and what is, the really bad path. So, honestly, I applaud the fact that they're bringing in a Joe Rogan show, and, Joe Rogan, he may go after Shapiro here, but I have full confidence Shapiro can hold his own, and if he can't, we'll try to boost some of his arguments, because all of this was right on the spot. He had no time to really prepare for all this shit they were going to pull him. It's not a full legal case where the opposite side knows all the arguments, that the defense is going to be giving, or the prosecutor is going to be giving. So, well, I do now. I have plenty of time to prepare my argument against these people, and so let's just get right into it.
Had guns drawn on him, which is probably what started.
Okay.
But here's him talking about that.
Communities. And I've been very blessed to be in this position and be able to make the kind of money I do. And I have to help these people. I have to help these communities. It's not right that they're not put in the position to succeed or given those opportunities to succeed. And as far as taking a knee tonight, Eric, as well as myself, had a long conversation with Nate Boyer, who is a military vet, and we were talking to him about how can we get the message back on track and not take away from the military, not take away from pride in our country, but keep the focus on what the issues really are. And as we talked about it, we came up with taking the knee because there are issues that still need to be addressed. And it was also a way to try to show more respect to the men and women that fight for this country.
Okay, so that's better, obviously.
Yeah.
Scroll down for a second, because I think
that's 2016.
Okay, so I mean, that's better, obviously. Well, what happened? I thought you were like a whiz kid. I thought you were super smart. I mean, everyone has known that Colin Kaepernick spoke to a veteran to ensure that this protest, the kneeling or carrying out a protest, would be done so in the most respectful way toward the
God, keep your shirt on, Pillsbury dough douche. The U.S. Army does not take a knee. We didn't take a knee for our independence. We didn't take a knee at Pearl Harbor. We didn't take a knee when the Twin Towers fell. Soldiers drive forward and execute their mission and personal goal. The U.S. Army stands tall as an amalgamation of people from all walks of life. We stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States. We do not wear a garbage uniform so we can open up our shirts like some Superman with type 10 diabetes.
Military, towards soldiers, toward veterans. We've known that. And I just love how Ben Shapiro is pretending like he saw that argument, he saw that statement for the first time. And before I go to you, Cenk, I just want to go to the second part of this video where Joe Rogan, well, just watch. Let's see his reaction.
Okay, look at the one right below that. Okay, this is the one I'm talking about.
I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color.
That's the sentence right there.
So that's a different.
The video we just watched was 4 or 5 days after these statements were made. So he said he changed after talking to someone. He made changes to what was going on.
Right. So the initial explanation is the one that I was talking about.
Okay, so he revised his feelings on it.
And then,
well, that's super reasonable.
It started with this.
Kaepernick had guns drawn on him by cops for being one of the only black guys in his town. Yeah, that seems super reasonable.
Yeah, there's a giant difference between Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro.
Oh my God, great observation, Cenk. It could be because, they are both come from different places, they both hold different ideologies, or they both report media and news in different ways, and they can both be considered different types of content. Now, which one are you pointing to here? Because, honestly, how could we have missed this?
I think Ben Shapiro knew all along that Kaepernick had talked to a veteran, and
now I'll admit that this whole take a knee thing really depends on who you ask nowadays. Because, you got people who say it's bad, and, got people who say it's just purely for rest, to reconsider and shit. If you quickly go and Google it, you'll find sources for both for and against, which I think it's just ultimately stupid how an entire argument here, just goes on to Kaepernick taking a knee here, which honestly we should be way past this. Both sides here are at fault. I can't even clown on just TYT for this. I mean, honestly, we just need to push past this because we have way more pressing things going on in the world right now that need more attention and shit that I can't even think of right now just because I live in Colorado and not a lot happens here. But, I'm pretty sure any other state could figure out something big going on. So, I don't know why we spend so much time and energy on this, and I also just want to push past it, but again, both sides here just keep bringing it up, and will you both just shut up?
He used to lie to his audience, and now when confronted by Rogan, who has had him on a lot and helped his publicity, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, is that right? Well, I was referring to something 4 days earlier.
I remind you guys that disabilities don't have to look like, wheelchair handicap, but it can also look like this. And we should really all keep in mind that whenever you make fun of someone, you never really know how fucked up their brain is. The more you know.
Right? Whereas Joe Rogan, I think, genuinely didn't know, which is a different problem. Right?
100%. No, 100%. Like, okay, I sorry to interrupt you, but look, people get angry with Joe Rogan, and there have been times where I get frustrated with the show, mostly because of some of the redundancy. But based on what I know about Joe Rogan, and I do listen to his podcast regularly, he doesn't come from he's not a bad faith actor, right? Whereas Ben Shapiro is. Joe Rogan.
All right, so I'm looking at the dictionary right here, and is a sustained form of deceit which consists of entertaining or pretending to entertain one set of feelings while acting as if influenced by the other. It may be involved intentional deceit of others or self-deception. I don't know if Ben Shapiro really, fits into that category. I think he really talks about what he feels. What he talks about the world how he sees it. I don't see how there's any really bad faith in that, other than TYT just disagreeing with them and being like, all right. Ben Shapiro opens dictionary, bad faith actor, without even fucking reading the definition here. Which, I mean, like, I say a lot of words that I don't even know the meaning of, but I'm a fucking small-ass YouTube channel. I can get away with that. But if you're actually trying to pretend to report the news here, if you're trying to be one of the big shots, you should at least come into your, statements with a written speech here that actually has all the words checked and making sure that you're making coherent sentences. But no, in fact, they just go ad hominem and try to attack Shapiro here, which is something I really can't respect.
Remember, he's not like a political analyst. He likes to have conversations. He's an MMA guy, among other things, comedian, right? But his profession is not political commentator or analyst. And so I say that because
So apparently Joe Rogan can't have an opinion on politics just because his profession is not a political commentator, which doesn't make any sense. They're just trying to put themselves on a high horse, just being like, well, because we comment a lot about politics means that our decisions are informed and that we have the best idea for what is best for the people, when what is best for the people is what they all individually agree is best for them. That is why we vote, that is why we have a democracy, and that is why we should definitely not let TYT be our representatives.
My frustrations have been when you have these like fast talking shysters like Ben Shapiro on, sometimes they'll say things that Rogan might not be as knowledgeable about. And so he can't rebut the arguments in real time, and you want him to, right? But once you give him the details and the facts and you make a reasonable argument, it's not like he's gonna reject it. Right? He's not an unreasonable person. Doesn't mean I agree with him on everything. There are definitely things I disagree with him on, but there's a difference, you're right, between Rogan and Shapiro. Shapiro has built a career off of lying to people who listen to him and making these bad faith arguments, which further defame people like Colin Kaepernick unfairly, right? So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, well, I have more to say. So first of all, we haven't gotten to the biggest culprit, and it isn't Shapiro or Rogan. But I have a funny theory, which I'm sure isn't true. So let's share it anyway, which is that Joe hasn't had me on his show in what, 5-6 years or so, because I think he's afraid that if he has me on the show, that he won't invite any.
I'm pretty sure he's afraid if he has you on the show, people are going to associate you with him. And that's never good for business, because having Cenk, Ugger, the fucking tit, whatever, on any media is just a goddamn death sentence to the liberal realm. You can't come back from that. I don't understand how anyone can come back from having this guy, because honestly, his opinions are never informed, always biased, and he's not a reasonable guy. Like, if honestly he would stay neutral here, try to figure out what is actually good, what is actually bad, but no, he just panders to one side of the political spectrum, which honestly, it makes money. I can respect that. If you choose one side, like Fox News or TYT here, you're gonna make money off of each side. But if you actually try to be figuring out what opinions and facts from both sides are the best and how can we combine these to actually have a better system, then all of a sudden, you get flack from both ends. And there are some people who do this well. There are some people who do this absolutely amazing, and it's such a difficult line to navigate. But here we go, TYT just choosing the easy way to pull in the cash from all these angry liberals.
More right-wingers, which kills like half of his guests. So we're clearly right. We're clearly right on all these issues. And I think that he, in the back of his mind, knows that. And so, but then what are you gonna do?
This just illustrates how fucking insane this guy is. Because just because we have different political ideologies and we say different things, he's like, I know you know that what I think is the best, and you don't want to admit that my ideas, my beliefs are the best in the whole world, and you secretly agree with me. That is just how out of the loop this guy is. This is how long he's actually been in the echo chamber. He's been in the echo chamber that is known as the Young Turks for so many years now that he's just gone absolutely insane thinking that it's impossible for people to have other ideas than me. They just want to say other things than what I have to say. Like, honestly, I don't understand how people can watch this shit without fucking laughing their ass off. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's their only audience at this point. Somebody who's, gotten a little high and just wants to fucking laugh his rocker off. And what better way to either go to AMTV over here? That's a great spot to get some laughs, get some chuckles, or TYT. It's whatever you're feeling. Do I want to see what the right has to say, or do I want to see what the left has to say? And then you got everyone else who's actually reasonable in between both of there. And most people, they listen to each other. They don't stay in these echo chambers. It's just this news media that absolutely just pushes it to one end of the spectrum, which honestly is an extreme. It's never good to have only one of one thing. Like, you can't have too much ice cream, you can't have too much video games, and you can't exercise too much. You're just gonna fucking kill yourself either way. And so, honestly, why can't it be the same with political spectrums? If you go too far left, it's bad. If you go too far right, it's bad. The best place to stay is in between both to be an actual decent, reasonable human being. But I'm already going off enough about this.
Had all these, like, Ben Shapiro and Sam Harris and Dave Rubin and all these guys on a billion times, right? And so what is he gonna do? Disavow all of them when he realizes we're right about almost every single position? So he's kind of put himself in a tough spot there. But I've said from day one, and even in the times that he had those guests come on and totally lie about me, that I think Rogan is actually a good guy. And it's kind of a funny thing to say. And he said a lot of bad things.
Another thing too is TYT embraces cancel culture here. It's just because one person has an idea different than you, all of a sudden they're evil. Like, honestly, you are not the holier than thou. Whatever my word is, it is true, and any other person is just a sinner. You are not a prophet here. We are all just trying to figure out the best way to live our damn lives, and just because someone has the nerve to say one thing that you don't agree with, all of a sudden he's just a villain. He's portrayed in media as like the ultimate, fucking Joker out here. And he's just killing people left and right. No, just because someone said something mildly different than you that you slightly disagree with does not give you the right to just scream at them. I mean, yeah, actually it does give you the right because that's First Amendment. It doesn't give you the right to just end them immediately. Just fucking pull out your Glock and cap their head about 3 times to make sure they can't come back. Like, honestly, if these people would just say that, yeah, I disagree with Joe Rogan. I will say it now. I disagree with him every now and then. But do I hate him? No, I actually think he's an interesting guy. I think he's actually a great guy who embraces both sides of the spectrum, and he talks about great things. Now, yes, we do have our disagreements every now and then, but what are you going to do? That's the way the world works. And just because the world doesn't work that everyone has to agree with you doesn't mean that the world is suddenly corrupt and crooked.
I know that. But I think that you could talk him out of those positions. And I don't think I'm naive for thinking that. And he shows it from time to time. He showed it with Rubin in the post office. He shows it here with Shapiro and Colin Kaepernick. But the problem sometimes with guys like Rogan is that if it doesn't happen to them, it didn't happen, right? That's why he said, if you noticed, he had a gun pulled on him by the cops, so that's fair. No, but look,
what the hell, Shank? You just 180'd your argument. Joe Rogan literally, in the video, he was understanding of Kaepernick's point, but then all of a sudden you say, no, he wasn't understanding of Kaepernick's point. He was like, oh, that's okay. When Joe Rogan was like, no, that's fair. The fact that he took a knee here just because of all the shit that's ever happened to him, and he's trying to raise awareness for it. That's literally what Joe Rogan just did, but this guy just suddenly gets it twisted in his head that, no, because Joe Rogan's a bad guy, he has to do bad things. And what's a bad thing that I can connect to this whole Kaepernick thing? Oh, yes, of course. No, this guy literally just does the most mental gymnastics. He's on AMTV level, fuck me. He's just where Christopher Green gets like one piece of information. I can't believe I'm still talking about them. He gets like one little piece of news information. It's like, oh, EMP exists. That's how the world's gonna end. No, it's not how the world is gonna end. It's one of many ways, but honestly, I would rather think if you're gonna use EMP against the world, you're gonna fucking use nuclear weapons against the world. So, I don't know what these people are. I don't know how to fucking talk about these people without getting riled up. Just because it's more entertaining to get riled up, but also it's just the fact that they're so stupid. And I honestly, I pray to God here that they aren't stupid, that they're just doing this to be entertaining, because that's what they are. They're entertainment. They're not news media. These people are literally tabloids just for politics. And honestly, I hope to God that these people are just a whole lot smarter. Like, please not be the same way outside of the camera. Like, be any normal YouTuber nowadays and be a different person when you're fucking talking on the platform, And I just... Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know what to fucking do with this.
I never had a gun pulled on me by the cops, but I could empathize.
Weak. Never had a gun pulled on me by a cop. Dude, you live in the United States, right? That is on the daily. Actually, it's only ever happened like 1 or 2 times to me. I don't know if the second one really counts. You got close, but I don't understand how that... Yeah, I think it's a lot more common, but it's just because, I'm gonna be honest. The people I was hanging out with, the people I was around, and just me, myself, we antagonized the whole situation, so it's our fault, mostly.
Empathize with other people who have. But for guys like Rogan, they're like, oh, if it happened to you, okay, then I get it that why you're mad. But if you're just looking out for other people, that seems kind of weird, right? So I'm sure he wouldn't put it that way. But let me get to the biggest culprit. That's the media. Because
most appropriate.
Ooh, self-burn. Those are rare.
Rogan knows more about politics, way more about politics than the average bear does, right?
I mean, if that's what some of your content is about, then naturally you're going to pick up on it more than, someone who lives in a cave and hasn't seen the world in like 10 years. And when they come out, they're not going to know anything about modern politics. They can do their best to guess, but they're not going to get it right after everything that's happened in the last like 10 years. But honestly, yes, I don't understand why you even need to say this. Of course we know that Rogan and... even these news outlets, quote unquote, know more about politics than us, because they study this. This is their... I'm hesitant to say this, but this is their job. But yeah. So I'll let you have this, but you didn't really need to say it. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna end the video here because they keep bringing back old points, just like AMTV, trying to get to that 10-minute mark, which they actually failed at. I don't think the video got to 10 minutes. I mean, literally, you just had to go like la 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 for like 10 more seconds, and you would have gotten those sweet mid-roll ads that I honestly want, but I am not popular enough for it, and I've already gotten like 1 or 2 copy strike violations just for talking. It was all fair use, but that's not even important now. I hate this platform. I hate YouTube. I came back to just have a laugh with you guys, and honestly, I think this was a great comeback here. I think I might keep doing this, maybe not, but we'll just see how unhealthy my upload schedule becomes over the next few weeks or months.